Shout out to Lord Baines. He said, Gojo, for some context, JJK story is dog crap with the ending. So I'm not a fanboy, but Gojo has a unique look. I think you should do it. And that's what we're doing right here. So yeah, so when making this design, honestly, like all of them, this is the first time that I'm actually talking about the process, because all of the other videos is just YouTube shorts and you guys just see the speed drawing and I'm not talking, just music in the background, right? So this is going to be the first video where I'm actually talking about the process. So yeah, like all of them, I start off with finding all of the photos that I've taken a few months ago with the self timer, and I'm trying to decide which one works best with the character that I'm going to design. So I have a vault full of all of these self timers. This is a professional, let me take a selfie, right? And I selected this one just because it has a cool side view showcasing the triceps, and yeah, and it's straight to the point like this character. So I selected this one, threw it down on Photoshop, and then I lowered down the opacity. And then from here, I use it as a guideline to make it easier for me to work on these character designs, because there's no blank canvas. This is a structure based upon using myself as a structure, right? And on top of that, this is another thing that I found that was really important. I found this really cool on Google Image Gojo character sheet design. So a character design sheet is literally just showing different angles of the character, which is helpful for animators when they got to keep drawing the character frame by frame by frame. So it's a good way to be consistent with the character's likeness, right? Pretty much to identify how the character looks over and over and over. So I found this really good reference with that, and I use that as a guideline as well. So all in all, when drawing this, I used the Wacom tablet. It's really old school. Most people use Procreate. I use the medium Wacom tablet when drawing these characters. From here, I'm just looking at the screen, drawing it with the pen and with the Wacom pen, and it wasn't too difficult, honestly, when making this, mainly because his character design is not complicated. It's pretty straight to the point. He got a trench coat looking, well, I should say not trench coat, but more like the neck is really high, and then he has the, you know, the jacket, and it's the same color as his pants, so it has a simplistic ninja-like outfit. Not a lot of elements going on there. It's just pretty straightforward. Looks like a track jacket, but pretty much like a modern version of like a ninja outfit, right? Just without the mask. And yeah, it definitely wasn't too crazy. I made his arms bigger just because I'm using my photograph as reference, and my arms are pretty big. Not to flex, even though it's flexing the triceps, but you know, the arms was pretty big, so I wasn't gonna make his arms smaller, right? The only difficulty I had was the head was too big, and that was mainly because my photograph, my head is like rounded, right? And Gojo's head is, you know, it's anime, so like the side view is it's always going to be very sharp and angular, because that's the style. But when doing that, I concentrated too much on that to the point where I was like, oh, okay, the head looks like a bobblehead. So yeah, I gotta go in there and fix that. So instead of me erasing it and starting all over with the face, I decided to just use a pale elastic tool and just shrink it down the size to the right proportion and threw it back on there. So that was the only challenge as far as the sketch. But everything else was pretty straightforward, pretty smooth. After that is when I'm just using the pen tool on Illustrator. So now I'm using a mouse instead of the Wacom tablet. And yeah, hair was really smooth, honestly. I didn't really have too much of a problem with it. I was really getting in the zone. Honestly, when I was making this, I was like, is this gonna take a few days to make? Because I don't know, I was feeling it, but I wasn't thinking as if it was gonna take the same day to complete it, because I was having a mindset of, okay, once the pen tool is done, maybe the next day or something like that, when I'm free, I'll revisit it and start doing the colors and then like finishing up the illustration. But no, like it actually was pretty fast. Wasn't expecting it. But yeah, so pen tool was not too complicated, because the character itself wasn't too complicated to begin with. A lot of it was to gather the right angles for the lights and shadows, seeing where the shadow is going to be placed, especially from the inner folds of his arms, and then of course the highlights from the outer area, right? I like doing reflective lighting because I like to just create these characters in a very like stylized way, so that way I can always take this character into other sceneries and it will still pop out regardless, almost like a sticker in a way, because of the highlights and the shadows, right? So after the pen tool was complete, this is when I'm just starting adding the colors to this character, and I kept just going back and forth with the character sheet, right? His hair is not actually white based upon the design that I'm looking at as reference. It has a very, very pale lavender. So I captured that, the very pale lavender on his hair. That was the only part that I was trying to figure out, and then I ended up figuring it out. And then after that was his overall ninja outfit, right? Straightforward. Ninja outfit wasn't just a like burnt, let's just say it wasn't a dark gray. So I just try to find a color that is similar to the main reference one that I was looking at, right? So it's like a stylized like gunmetal, very, very dark, close to black gray. And I found something that was similar to that, you know, and then I just kept going with that with the colors. And his skin tone is pale. He has a pale skin tone, right? So yeah, it wasn't too crazy. You're gonna hear me say that over and over like a broken record, because it really wasn't. I had fun making this mainly because it just wasn't a lot of detail to work with. And speaking of that, that's the main reason why I added all those like lightning effects around him, and I just had fun with that freely with the pen tool. And then I grouped it together, and then I threw it to the back, so that way there's like an outline that's purple, so it could create that effect. Also create that circular on the hand as well, just create an aura, like just making it dramatic. And yeah, so then after that, this is when I transfer the file from Illustrator to Premiere, and then from here, this is when I'm just utilizing the color grading. So playing around with the background, the depth of field of that by blurring out the background, and then just using the color grading, so create that movie-like scenery, and then adding the Gaussian blurs at the bottom and at the top. And then also the lightning and particle effects behind this character. So it's one of those interesting moments where I have not seen the show yet, so it's like kind of backwards. Normally when I create these designs, it's like, okay, like Attack on Titan is, I've watched the show and then I created a design, so I was more familiar with it. But this one I'm not familiar because I haven't watched the show yet, so I'm not extremely familiar with JJK. But I thank you for throwing your suggestion down below, and I'm pretty happy the way this came out. So let me know what you guys think down below. Also, comment down below what should be the next character I should design in the future. It could be manga, anime, comic book art like Marvel, DC, you name it. Let me know down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.